Next question is from Fulvio the Castle. Should I train behind the neck pull downs or overhead presses to achieve better mobility, or is it just too dangerous?
So this is one of those exercises that I was taught. I was actually taught as a trainer, never teach. So when I first got my first certification, they said never do overhead presses behind the neck, never do pull downs behind the neck. Totally bad for the shoulders. In fact, later on, because all the bodybuilders did these exercises, and I thought to myself, you know, it can't be that bad. Let me try it out. I first tried it out, and I didn't necessarily have the mobility, so I would shorten the range of motion and go real light. Eventually, I could do them full range of motion, and then eventually I could add load, and it made my shoulder mobility better. Now, is this the best way to achieve better shoulder mobility? No. But I will say this. If you can't do an exercise, what you should probably do is figure out how to be able to do that exercise with good stability and good mobility, because you're just improving your body's ability to move. And your shoulders should be able to do things with exercises behind the neck. And now the only reason why it's dangerous is a lot of people can't do it, so they have to get themselves to be able to do it.
Yeah, I'm going to say that 99% of you should do the mobility work first and get that done, and then go to movements. If you do that, okay, because that's totally fine. You could do that. You could start super lightweight and just get used to, you have to understand how the body compensates in order for you to do that. Okay, now I'm going to start these behind the neck. Well, what I notice when I do this, my low back arches and I slide.
And you're probably pushing your head forward.
That's right, and then you push the head forward. And so I would have to get in that position, and then I would have to tighten my core, rotate my pelvis, keep that in that position, and then really slow and controlled.
You just do it with a broomstick to start.
Yeah, so you have to know how the body is going to cheat when you go to do that if you don't have the right prerequisites first.
Well, it's imperative, like you pass the wall test, you pass these things that we've sort of outlined in terms of like points of contact. If you can't maintain it, like it's sort of like there has to be a pre-qualifier in there to be able to do. But there's a lot of value in them once you have the mobility and the strength to be able to pull it off. It really does stimulate the muscles in different ways.
Well, I don't know that, but I start working on that behind the head with a bar, and then I had 25s and then 45s. Meanwhile, the whole time I've got this massive arch in my back and pushing my head forward in order for me to do it.
Yeah, less than ideal movement, and your risk of injury now goes up.
Way up. So we talk about the barefoot training thing, right? Like if you never barefoot train, like you shouldn't all of a sudden go run your mile run every day barefoot, like for the first time. Like start with just walking outside barefoot for a while and start building that up before you start.
Well, that's why I liked too. Like Z press was a great one in terms of like really figuring out whether you have the thoracic stabilization, you know, to be able to keep everything, all those, keep the bracing mechanisms in place so it protects your spine.
Yeah, this person should get MAPS Performance. So if you don't have MAPS Performance, like, because we do the Z press in there, we address mobility stuff in there. So this is a perfect program for somebody who wants to get to a place where they can do these movements and to progress them the right way there instead of just jumping to it and risking injury.